2 seconds, and then we're on. Great. Here we are with the legendary smiling Sam Alvey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful today, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a bit late here, but it's still like a nice summer here in Sweden, so
Uh,
it's perfect.
it's early here in Tennessee. Man, it's humid here. It feels
Yeah.
wonderful.
So, what do you do when you're home and not training?
I'm always doing so. I live on a ranch. I got 5 acres, 2 horses, 30 chickens, bunch of ducks and goats and sheep and dogs and 6 kids. I've always got something. There's never. I could use some help even if ever you're in the area.
Yeah, sure. I'll swing by. And you got some. It's not a cat or a dog. It's a cat, right?
Behind me, yep,
Yeah.
that's a double bubble cuddles. That's our hair cat.
So
Got
it's been.
a dog right there.
Oh, so how many animals do you have? Like pets?
54.
54.
That's the horses and the sheep and the ducks and the goats and the
Wow. How many horses do you have?
just 2 horses.
There's two.
Hmm.
Yeah, my mom loves horses, so maybe I'll swing by Tennessee with her then.
Yeah, please do.
So it's been almost 3 weeks since your last fight in the UFC versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. What's been going on in your life since your last fight in the UFC?
Actually, I was out by you for 2 weeks. I was out in Europe.
Yeah.
So I do this thing with the Armed Forces Entertainment, it's called. And I go military base to military base, and I give seminars and I give speeches and sign babies and shake hands and all that stuff. Um, I just got back about a day and a half ago. That's why we couldn't talk last week.
Yeah.
I was in Kosovo, then Romania, then Bulgaria, and then finished in Poland.
Okay. Cool. How is this the first time you've been to Europe?
No, I've been to Europe a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Once for a fight, even 3 times for fights. But this Armed Force Entertainment thing, this was my fifth. They call them tours. It was my fifth tour, and I think I've done like 3 of them all over Europe too.
Yeah. How is that to work for the armed forces in that way? I have friends that do it over here in Sweden. They're comedians, and they do that kind of stuff also.
I love it. The soldiers are so appreciative, and they just love the little. I mean, they're always away from home for 9 months to 3 years. I met a couple guys that haven't been back to America in like 20 years.
Oh,
And
really?
so they always get a kick out of bringing a little slice of home with me.
Yeah. So is there anything special that you do? Do you show them like MMA tricks and that also, or?
Yeah, we go out there and I give a seminar. They're all interested in what happens to UFC fighters. What I've done behind the scenes and who I've met and when I fought and the hard parts and the easy parts of MMA. So they ask, we'll do a long seminar, and then we finish with I'll do we do a long question Q&A kind of thing, and then I'll do a quick seminar, usually about half hour, and then I'll roll with them for until they're tired, because I don't get tired. But I'll roll with them till I beat them all.
So I got to ask you then, what is the hardest part with MMA?
The wrestling, no, the weight cut. The weight cut's the hardest part. Yeah, but the wrestling's coming in number 2.
What's been your hardest weight cut?
Actually, when I fought in Poland, it was 42 pounds in 10 days. That's what I had to do. This last weight cut of mine was rough. This last cut was 17 pounds the day of my, within the last 24 hours. That was a rough one. That one got hard. But I made it.
How did you do it?
I did almost all of it in the bathtub. Actually, I started in the sauna. Then I went to a bathtub, did most of it in the bathtub. And the last pound I did in the sauna again.
Yeah. And how much did you gain after weigh-ins?
I think I stepped in the cage at about 218 or 19.
Yeah.
And I was 186, which is, what are the kilos? What's that? 90 kilos to 96 kilos or something like that. 90,
yeah.
Something like that.
It's double. I think it's 1 pound is half a kilo about. So we here when we make easy math, is like 2 pounds is 1 kilo.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And how's your jaw? I asked you before, but I gotta hear it here.
It's sore. Like it can go up and down all right, but going side to side, it's real tender. Right? When I'm going to my right, you can feel how tight it is, and I can't chew solid food yet. I'm doing a lot of soft foods.
Yeah. So did you break it like in the under part or?
You might be able to see there's a little gap in my tooth,
Yeah.
right there, and yeah, it just broke straight up and
Oh,
down.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. But did they wire it or?
No, I got so lucky. So this is the second time I've broken my jaw. The first time they wired me shut, and for 6 weeks I couldn't do anything. This time they said there was no displacement. He said if you had to break your jaw, I did it in the best possible way. So he said as long as you promise me you're not going to eat anything and we won't wire you shut. I said I promise. I swear to God, I won't touch anything.
Yeah. I gotta ask you, you've had a long run in the UFC. You debuted back in 2014, and the last fights haven't gone your way. So my question is, what drives you? What motivates you to keep going? Because we see a lot of fighters when they lose 3, 4 fights. I mean, they're done. They hang up the glove, and the motivation is gone. What motivates you, man?
I never have to wear shoes. I mean, for at no point in my life do I need to put a pair of shoes on. And the only reason I can do that is because I get up and I train my ass off every day. I love this sport. I love the sport. I mean, every fighter says they do. I mean, I truly do. There's nothing I will break my jaw again if that means I can continue fighting. So I'm not done yet. I'm going to take a little time off, heal up. I mean, it's probably 6 months or so till I'm even allowed to get hit. So I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to gain some weight. I'm going to go up to 205 and stay at 205. And we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, because I've kind of asked myself from time to time, but like, what motivates people? I think that's an interesting question. What drives you, the purpose, and why, and all that. And when I see you fighting, that even if you didn't win, I always kind of see passion in your. I mean, you're always smiling, so it's difficult not to see passion in you. But I mean, it's for real. That's the thing that I see when you walk in. You really love the sport, and it doesn't matter if you lose. You still want to go in there and fight.
I grew up. I was not an athlete. I played baseball. I was never any good. I wrestled a little bit. I was a B team wrestler. Good practice dummy for the good guys. I played trumpet. I was musical, and that's what I did my whole life. And eventually, I found myself in a cage, and I know how. I didn't mean to be a fighter. I didn't know about the UFC. I didn't start training until after I was a professional. I didn't know about the UFC until I was probably 7-2 or 7-1 as a professional. It was just something I did because I enjoyed and found a way to. I mean, it was my wife. It's my wife over there that convinced me. Said, "Man, you can make a living at this." I said, "Okay, let's do that then." She found out about everything for me, and I did it for free because I enjoyed doing it. Now I would still do it for free. But I don't have to.
How did you meet your wife? Because I always see you walking in together. She's always in your corner with you, but I've never heard the story how you actually met.
Yeah, so I worked at something called the Renaissance Fair. It was right on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. It's where you go in there and everybody acts like it's the Middle Ages. You know, they just talk poorly and eat. And so I worked there for about 5 years. My second year working there, she got a job there. Her boss and a buddy of mine introduced us, and it was like instantly head over heels in love with her. And I just found a way to trick her into marrying me eventually.
That's a good trick. When you find the right one, trick her into marrying you. And now you got 6 kids.
Yeah, yes. And now we just had kid number 6. I'm over 80 fights in the UFC. We're working on her making her professional debut as well. Yeah. And we've just been blessed. I couldn't imagine a life without everything we've done.
Is she a black belt too in BJJ or?
No, she's close. Yeah. As good as she, I mean, she's better than me on the ground, but she hits like a truck. I mean, it's like proportionately, she probably hits harder than Francis Ngannou.
And she never thought about joining the UFC or going professional fights?
No, we haven't really. We're talking to Bare Knuckle Fighting, you know, the Bare Knuckle fighting organization, about getting my wife, who is America's Next Top Model, to fight Paige VanZant. Yeah. I don't know that Paige VanZant will accept, but you know, if she's smart, she won't accept. But my wife is. We're ready to step up. We don't think we're going to have a kid in the next year, and this might be a good time to go out there and have my wife beat someone up.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna take my money. I'm in. I want to watch
Yes.
this. I'm in 100%. What would you say has been the best experience within the UFC? Because you've been there for so long, and the last couple of, not the last couple, but the last years, I mean, the sport has grown tremendously. So, what's been your best experience within the UFC?
Oh, the UFC is all, it's all kind of one big memory. The good fights, the bad fights, the decisions, the talking on the phone backstage. It's all been wonderful. But I think that the best part about it is what it's allowed me. If you're a doctor, you get paid more with the PhD, you get paid more with the doctorate. I'm a UFC fighter. People have a certain respect for me because of that. I'm a very experienced UFC fighter. And so when I walk in, one of the coolest things is I'll walk into any fight, a local organization, and the fighters there that are trying to make their way up, they love chatting with me. And it's so cool being that guy that gets put on a pedestal for these little guys and just being normal me, just doing everything I can to help them for that moment before their fight. And so having that little extra umph, that that PhD behind my name, is really pretty fun.
PhD in MMA.
Yes.
That sounds good. Sounds good. What would be your advice to young fighters?
Wrestle. Don't worry about anything else. Just wrestle.
And when you look at MMA today, what would you say is the biggest difference
between now and when I started?
Yeah.
When I started, it was just a bunch of athletic dudes kind of beating each other up. Now it's an art. Now it's, you have to, I'm still a fan of, you have to be a master of one and good at everything. Yeah. When I first started, nobody was good at anything. They were just tough. And I think that's the biggest difference. The people today aren't as tough as they used to be, but they know how to fight.
Yeah. And if we go back to the Ultimate Fighter, when you were there, what was it that brought you into to that season? Did you search for yourself, or did they pick you out for the season?
They picked me up, but I had tried a few times. I tried out at 205, and then they cut the weight class, and then I tried at 85, and they cut the weight class, and then I said, okay, I'll do 70, and then they cut the weight class. I said, well, it just wasn't supposed to happen. And then out of the blue, I got a call, said, hey, can you still make 70? It was like a season or 3 later. I said, yeah, let's do it. And it was a big cut. It was like 29 days. I had to lose 40 pounds, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was a lot of prunes and oatmeal. That's kind of what I ran my life on. And I made weight, but it was rough.
Yeah. And when did they when was the first time they called you Smiling Sam?
That would have been before I was in the UFC. That was I was a pro, but I was a young pro. I was sitting around the dining room kitchen nook, and we were all just kind of talking. It was my dad that came up with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So are you ever mad?
Yeah, I'm sure I get there. I didn't like it much. I don't think I'll do it again. But yeah, it was a bad afternoon.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. So what's your plan now? When you're looking for, when the jaw is healed and all that, what's your plan? What do you want to do?
I haven't really given any thought. My plan was win my last fight, get re-signed, become the UFC champion. That kind of fell through when the guy whooped my ass. So now step one is heal. Just get myself healed. Take a little more time off than I'm used to. Work on my house, get my house all set up, and then we'll go from there. I still want to fight. I've still got a long career ahead of me, I hope. And that's kind of, it's still what I like to do. I don't want to put on a pair of shoes yet. So I'm going to keep training as hard as I ever have. But we'll see what comes next. Maybe dream job would be the WWE. That is what I mean. I love the wrestling. I love the world of entertainment wrestling, and that would be my dream. So I'm putting some feelers out that way, seeing if I can come up with anyone that wants to hire me for that. But it's kind of just waiting and seeing what's going to happen next.
Have you ever tried it for real? I mean, the WWE kind of the wrestling?
Not in a ring, not with people that know what they're doing, but I grew up and throughout my whole, I do it with my friends constantly. To this day, we're throwing ourselves off and flipping, and I do it really well in the backyard. And I've got mic skills that would, it would get me the job with that alone. I hope.
Because we have fighters that have made it to the WWE. I mean, Ronda Rousey is obviously the biggest one to step inside a cage. And we had Brock Lesnar who did the reverse. He went from the W to the UFC and then back again. And then we have, what's his name? The guy that was in the Ultimate Fighter. He did some fights in the UFC.
He's still there. He's the Matt Riddle.
Yeah,
he's the tag team champion, RK Bro. He's wonderful. I really see Brock is okay. But Brock is entertaining offensively, but he's terrible getting hit. Like he comes in and he just beats everyone up, and then as soon as something happens to him, they nerf him. They make him real soft. Ronda is great in the ring. She falls really well, but if you give her a microphone, she's just terrible. And I hate saying it because I really do like watching her wrestle, but I hate listening to her talk. Matt Riddle is it all. Riddle's so much fun to watch. He's a high flyer too. So Riddle'll be a lot of fun. You know who is the best in the original? Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock was in the WWE, I don't know, 25 years ago. And I loved Shamrock.
I never forget the fights he had with Tito Ortiz. I don't know why. The one, I'm going to beat you into the living death, and Tito just starts laughing. That one, it's just epic. So what are your kids? Do they understand? I mean, they've been to your fights and all that, but how did they view their father as a fighter?
They think I'm great. They think I'm as good now as I ever was. They don't like that I keep losing, but they understand it happens, and I'm training them so it never has to happen to them.
Anyone wants to follow their dad's footsteps, or?
God, I hope not. I hope they're all better at baseball or something.
Yeah, then they can wear shoes and you can still be barefoot.
They can wear shoes, or they'll have so much money they can pay somebody to carry them from place to place.
Yeah. And how's the thing with Jake Paul going? I heard you were talking, or the things you put up on your Instagram.
It's not going to happen. I never thought it would. I'm going to die. I'm going to be there. I'll make weight whenever he tells me to. But he was in the room and that beat the brakes off his brother. He, to this day, won't make eye contact with me. And he understands that when I was sparring with his brother, I was going light. I was trying real hard to make his brother look good. We were just working. I was being a good partner. And I still ended up beating his brother bloody. And Jake wouldn't spar with me later that day. So I never thought the fight would happen, but I figured I'd throw my name in the bowl.
When and where was this, the sparring?
Yeah, it was 5 or 6 years ago. It was a while ago, so maybe he's great. Maybe he'd beat me up now. I don't know. But 5 or 6 years ago, he didn't. It was at his house. They had his house was so big. They had an Olympic-sized boxing ring in their living room. And so we went in there. It was incredibly large. And so we went in there and we sparred all afternoon, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So this was just a bad question. I was going to ask you, what do you eat when you're not preparing for a fight? And then I remember you just broke your jaw, so you're probably just eating Tennessee soup and stuff.
Soup and eggs and ice cream.
Soup and ice cream. That's the thing. What ice cream do you eat? Yeah. So any favorite ice cream?
Jack in the Box is the best. Jack in the Box has the best ice cream of any fast food place. Dairy Queen's, can't go wrong with Dairy Queen. And then if you're up in Wisconsin, they've got something called custard. Custard is better than ice cream, and it's pretty similar.
Yeah. I've been to Dairy Queen's. That was when I was in Canada, but I haven't tried the Jack in the Box. I haven't tried that one. But I just ate the ice cream, actually.
Yeah, they just do ice cream shakes at Jack in the Box. But they're wonderful.
Yeah. Man, Sam, it's been an honor to have you on my show, on my podcast, and I'm really looking forward to see you wherever you go. And have you ever thought about PFL or any of those organizations, or maybe Brave or ONE FC or something?
Absolutely, or Eagle FC or the Bare Knuckle Boxing. I'm a prize fighter. I'm going to talk to him once I'm a little more healed up, once I can competently sign something, and we'll go. I've got some good fights left in me. I'm going to get back. I'm going to get back in the win column too.
Bro, I'm really looking forward to it, man. A lot of people talk trash about you and losing and all that stuff, but dude, you got the motivation, you got the love, and it shines. I think everybody can see it when you walk into the cage.
Hey, they can talk trash, they can talk happiness, but they're still talking about me, and I'm not going to talk about any of them.
Exactly. All the best, and hope to talk to you soon with a nice fight announcement or something good. I'm really looking forward to it.
I appreciate that, sir.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.